Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to tell you about conditional statements in R. What are conditional statements? To understand the conditional statements, let's see some common life examples first. In this first example, there are two persons. One is asking the other, if you have more than $50, please buy a pizza for me. The first person again asks with another condition saying, if you have more than $30 but less than $50, then buy a chocolate for me. And in a third condition, he says, if you have less than $30, then buy nothing for me. So here in this example, someone is asking another person that if he has more than $50, he should buy a pizza for him. And if he has less than $50 but more than $30, then he can buy a chocolate for you. Otherwise, if he has less than $30, then he shouldn't buy anything for you. In the second example, a person is asking another one with a condition that if he is going to the market, then he should bring a Pepsi for you. And if he is going to the park, then you have no problem if he is going to play with his friends in the park. In this example, there are two persons again. One is asking the other and saying, if you have more than $20, buy a pizza for me, else buy a chocolate for me. This example means that you're asking the person if he has more than $20, then he should buy a pizza for you. And if he doesn't have more than $20, then he should buy a chocolate for you because he has less than $20. There's another example. You're asking someone, if you have read this book, lend it to me, else I will buy one for myself in the market. Now the structure of if statement in R. In R, you can create if statements mainly in three forms. One form is that you have simple if statements. They may be single if statement or multiple if statements. The second form is that you have if statements inside if statements. They are called nested if statements. And the third kind of if statements is that you have if in conjunction with else statement. So let's look at the structures of the if statements in R. So this is the simple if statement. This is a single if statement, and the structure of this if statement is that you will have to type if and then parentheses. Inside these parentheses, you will have to put the condition. And after that, then you should put this curly bracket and enclose this curly bracket after the command or after the expression or function, whatever you call it. The second form of if statements is that you have multiple if statements. This form is the same as the previous one, but the only difference is that you have multiple if statements. So the first one, if, then a condition inside parentheses, and then starting and then expression or the commands inside curly braces. And then a second if statement starts. After the first statement is closed, a second if statement starts. And the second if statement also has the same structure as the first one. Similarly, you go on to the third if statement and then fourth and then fifth with different conditions and different expressions. We have a third form of if statements, which is called nested if statement. Here, you start the first if statement and that put the condition 1 for the first if statement, and then you put the starting curly bracket and then expression 1, and then inside this if statement you put another if statement. Before closing this first if statement, you put another if statement inside it which has its own condition called condition 2, and then starting bracket, starting curly bracket, and then expression of this second if, and then you close this curly bracket for this second if statement, and then this one is for closing the first if statement. So you have an outer if statement and an inner if statement. So this is the third form of if statement. The last one is called if else statement. Here you write if and then parentheses, condition inside these parentheses, and then the curly bracket. After curly bracket, you press an enter and write some expressions here, and then you close the curly bracket. After that, you type else in the same line, and then in the same line you start another curly bracket, and then you press enter to go into the new line. After you go to the new line, you write or you type another statement, another expression, and then you close the curly bracket. So basically we have here two curly brackets. This expression will be executed when this condition is true, while this expression will be executed in case this condition is false. So here these conditions have two possible answers. These conditions will either be true or false. If this condition is true, then this expression will be executed, and if this condition is false, then this expression will be executed. However, in the previous cases, that is in this case, here you have two conditions. This expression will be executed only if both the conditions are true, and this expression will be printed when only this condition is true. So when this condition is true, this expression will be executed, and then if this condition is false, this will not be executed. When this condition is true as well as this condition is true, then both these expressions will be executed. However, if this condition is false, then neither this expression will be executed nor this second expression, even if this condition is true. Now let's try some examples in R. For example, you have $30 in your pocket and someone is asking you if you have more than $50, then print pizza. So first this condition will be checked if it is true or false. If this condition is true, then pizza will be printed out on the screen. And if this condition is false, then it will not be printed on the screen. I mean that this expression will not be executed. In common language, you can say that if someone has more than $50, he should buy a pizza for, and there is no other condition. So let's execute these statements. To execute these statements, you have to select them and then holding Control, press Enter. Your statement will be executed. As you can see that it printed nothing but the same commands you typed on the screen. One thing more you must remember is that for typing conditional statements, you will have to open a new window first, because you cannot type most of the conditional statements directly on this console. So you cannot use this console for lengthy if statements, although you can use this console for simple if statements. When the if statements gets more complicated, then you will not be able to use this console area for that purpose. So you will have to use this notepad area or the editor area. For this purpose, you will have to open an editor first. To open an editor, go to File, New File, and an R script. So now you have an editor opened. For this you will have to type, for example, money. You have $40, and then the if statement, if money is more than $30, then he should bring a pizza for you. Now execute all these statements and see whether it bring you a pizza or not. Yes, he brought the pizza for us. I mean, the word pizza is printed on the screen now because this condition is true. So it first checks this condition. So as you can see that this condition is true because the money you have is more than $30. So it will print this word pizza. Now let's change this condition. If he has more than $50, he should bring a pizza. Now again select this, holding Control button, press Enter. So it will print nothing on the screen because the condition is false. Let's put another if statement outside this if statement. If money is greater than $30, then he should bring some coffee for you. Let's run all these statements together. Select them while holding Control, press Enter, and you can see that only coffee will be printed on the screen because this condition is false, so this pizza will not be printed on the screen. And this condition is true, so this coffee will be printed on the screen. Let's make both of these conditions true, more than 35. Now you can see that this condition is also true and this one is also true. So both pizza and coffee will be printed on the screen. First this condition will be run and pizza will be printed, and then the second condition will be checked and coffee will be printed. Now let's see a nested if statement. Remove this statement and type the statement inside this if condition. Now we have another variable, money, and suppose age. Suppose age is 30 years. Let's first remove this piece. Okay, if you have more than $30 and if your age is more than 20 years, and then these brackets, curly brackets, then he should bring a pizza for you. It means that it will check both the conditions, because this condition is outside condition and this one is an inner condition, which is also called a nested condition. So first it will check the money. If money is greater than 35, then it will check the age. If age is also greater than 20, then it will print the pizza word. So now let's select this, hold Control, press enter. You can see that it has printed pizza because both the conditions are true, the money condition and the age condition. Now let's change this age condition first. If age is more than 40 years and he has more than $35, then he should buy a pizza for you. As you can see that this condition is true, but this one is false. So this statement will not be printed here. Now let's check whether it prints it or not. Hold Control and press enter. You can see it printed nothing. Let's make this condition true, make it 20 again, and make this condition false. 45 suppose. Now run it and check whether it prints pizza or not. It didn't print pizza. Why? Because the first condition is false. This statement is only printed when both these if conditions are true. You can put both of these if functions in a single if statement. How? Let's see. Remove this. If money is greater than $30 and age is greater than 20 years, then he should bring a pizza for you. Now it will check both the conditions. In case both the conditions are true, it will print pizza. Otherwise not. Select them. Yes, the pizza is printed now because both the conditions are true. Now let's make one of these conditions false. 50. Now this condition has become false, so it will not print pizza. Select them, hold Control, press enter, and pizza is not printed now. Let's make this condition true and this one false. Select all these statements, Control, enter, nothing printed. Now let's change these AND to OR. For OR you will have to put these two signs. Now it will check both the conditions. Even if one of these conditions is true, the pizza will be printed on the screen. If this condition is true and this one is false, pizza will be printed. If this one is false and this one is true, again the pizza will be printed. If this one is true and this one is also true, again the pizza will be printed. But if both of them are false, then this one will not be printed. Now let's see. As you can see that this condition is false because we have $40 and this condition say that if it is more than $50. And then this one, the age is 30 and this condition says that age is more than $20. So this condition is true and this one is false. As you can see, only one condition is true. So now let's run this and pizza is printed because this one means R. This one is true, R, this one is true. Then print this. Now let's make both of them true. This is also true and this one is also true. Again it will print the pizza. Now make this condition false. Again select it, Control, enter, pizza is printed. Now make both of them false. Select them and press enter. And now this time it printed nothing because both of the conditions are false now. Let's turn to the if else statement. If you have more than $30, then bring me pizza. And then you will have to type else at the end of this if statement else, and then you will again type these curly brackets, press enter, go into the new line, and then type another expression. For example, print bread. So now it will check this condition first. If this condition is true, this first word will be printed on the screen. If this condition is false, then this bread will be printed on the screen. Select them and control enter. You can see pizza is printed on the screen because the condition is true. Now let's make this condition false. Make it 50. So this condition is now false because the money we have is equal to $40, and the condition says that if you have more than $50, then you should print pizza, or you should bring pizza. If you don't, then bring a bread or print a bread, you can say. Select them, control enter. It will print bread here on the screen because the condition is false. Remove all these statements, and now let me tell you the structure of the if statement and if else statement. The structure of the simple if statement is if, then these two brackets, this and this. So this is the whole structure of the if statement. After if, you type parenthesis, and after parenthesis a starting curly bracket and an ending curly bracket. Inside these parentheses you type the condition, and here you type your commands. You can type functions, you can call them functions or expressions. You can type several commands here. For example, command 1, command 2, command 3. All these three commands will be executed in case the condition is true. If this is false, none of these three commands will be executed. If you want to type something in case this condition is false, let's make it simple. We have only one command. This statement will print this command in case this condition is true, but it will print nothing on the screen if the condition is false. And you want to print something on the screen when the condition is false, so you have to type else here, and then again this one, these two curly brackets, and then command 2. And now it will print in both the cases whether the condition is true or false. If the condition is true, it will print command 1, and if the condition is false, it will print command 2. So that was all for today. Thank you very much for watching my videos. Bye.